I'm a libertarian, but I also know that you have to vote for the most libertarian candidate that can actually win. Joe Biden, given the opportunity, would slap a leash on me. Trump, on the other hand, wouldn't. And I don't agree with all of his fiscal policies. He did slash the government, so that's awesome. I mean, maybe that's where the libertarian, if they want to make some headway, should consider that, rather than some white BLM activist who says that he's armed and gay. Let's bring in Director of Constitutional Studies at the Manhattan Institute, Ilya Shapiro. All right, Ilya, this to me seems like a way crazy left-wing version of the Libertarian Party I once knew.
Well, the capital L libertarians have always been of all kinds. It's like herding cats. It's Will Rogers' quip about the Democratic Party not being an organized organization. That goes in spades for the capital L libertarians. And they really blew a big opportunity in 2016 when Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, who then were the least popular presidential candidates in history, they ran, the Libertarian Party did, Gary Johnson, a former governor of New Mexico, and still only got about 5%. It was a weak campaign. And yeah, they've descended from that and Ron Paul, as you said, to this guy whom I hadn't heard of until your producer reached out and asked whether I wanted to comment on this nomination. So at least what Wikipedia tells me, he has a lot of positions that are comfortably within, I guess, the tent, such as it is, of the Libertarian Party, whether it's abolishing the Department of Education, bringing troops home from abroad, or this other stuff that you've been talking about. But it's I don't think this is the candidate that's going to plant the flag and advance the Libertarians as a third party in this country.
Well, but the other thing, look, Ronald Reagan came out and said, like, hey, look, the traditional conservative really at heart is a libertarian. And I think that the whole thing is like, that's what our Constitution, I mean, look, the Constitution probably better than anyone, is, that was it was for. It was a doctrine to hamstring government. And now you have people in government, in nearly every party, that just abuse the system in order to put more regulations that they're in control of on you and I, when that's not the thing. And then somehow the Libertarian Party is cast aside. I mean, this guy makes it in his own island. But, Rand Paul and things like that, they were right on.
There's a lot to unpack here about this guy, but we're living in a populist moment. We briefly, or at least the elite media, declared that we had a libertarian moment when Rand Paul was a serious presidential candidate a decade ago or so, and now we're not. Now we're in a different sort of position, and it seems like both sides want to use the government for their own purposes. You can agree with those purposes more on one side or another. But it's, we live in a politics of personality less than policy. And you're right. This guy, Chase Oliver, who, as I said, I'd never heard of until this morning, he has a lot of policies that will disaffect kind of mainstream voters who might otherwise not want to vote either Democrat or Republican.
Which one is this? Roll this real quick.
Why do you think that the drag queens want to read to children?
Because I think that they are performance artists and they want to be able to have different levels of performance art. It's the same reason as why do the Wiggles sing to children? Because they want to have a marketplace to kids.
20 seconds to you, sir. This is going to turn off nearly everybody with half a brain.
On the Austin Peterson show, my friend Austin, who ran as a Republican for one of the lower offices and for president on the Libertarian Party ticket. So he's a libertarian Republican, if you will, and he was puzzled by Chase's position here. Look, you can have, as you said, you can have a right to smoke pot or to be a drag queen or what have you, but when there's nuances in terms of how we build our society.
Yeah, and when my tax dollars fund those schools, I don't want adult men twerking in their faces. Ilya, pleasure having you on, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.